Hey everyone, how's it going? So, whilst I don't exactly know what I'm going to say, I do know the topics I'm going to talk about, and knowing me the way I do, I feel like I should just give any newcomers a heads up that there will be a lot of swearing in this video. So if you have sensitive ears, this is really not the thing for you to be watching, so, bye. Okay, so I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I've just been putting it off because I'm sort of a lazy cunt, and what I want to talk about today is, I'm just going to start off with just talking about like 10 particular things, and these are just stupid comments made by stupid people about anything that's relating to self-defense or, combat or firearms or, really anything that has to do with a physical fight or confrontation. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I know a lot of people that are training really hard in martial arts or some other kind of fighting style, and they're really aspiring to be instructors. And I say, that's awesome. And I do remember when I had that enthusiasm when I was about 14, when I was, had the same idea in mind, and then I actually did become an instructor for a few styles. But that's not the point. The point is the fact that you may have a little bit of a different mindset about it as the years go around, because if you're quite young, you yet don't know all the really stupidly retarded things people are going to be saying about fighting in general. So what I decided to do was comprise a list of 10 things of comments that I have actually heard people say in real life over the years about these things, and I'm not just going to be quoting what they stated. I'll be giving a little bit of a response to it as well, and maybe sometimes a bit of a backstory. So starting off this list is this comment this one fucking dumb cunt made on my eye gouging video, and this was about a month ago. So Michael James is his name, and this was the comment. Unfortunately for you, my weak little friend, someone can do the same back to you. Obviously, you've never been in a real fight. Well, that would have been more dramatic if there was a sound effect of like crackling knuckles or anything like that, but you get the idea. It's there. So, where to even start with this? I'm sure a lot of you have seen real fights where people, like, I'm not talking about like a real fight as in just like people not using safety mats or something like that. I mean like a real proper street fight footage that's been taken by security cameras or people that feel like it's a really great idea to take out their phones and, film a violent confrontation, because that's helpful. Well, okay, I guess in some regard it might be helpful for evidence later on, but in the actual moment of helping someone out, not so much. I mean, you could be using that phone to ring the police, but no, let's just record it, because I'm sure you need those Instagram views, huh? But I digress. Point is that you see a lot of these footages of someone that's grappling, they're really close, and they actually have the opportunity to eye gouge the other person, but they don't. Strange, right? Why is that? Well, it's because they don't train to do it. When you're training in any kind of martial art or self-defense system, when you get into an actual confrontation, you revert to the training that you have mastered. And if you don't program to, let's say some guy's grabbing you around the waist area, a lot of other people and whatnot that are trained to do more sport-oriented martial arts will tend to do something like they'll try and get him into a headlock, or they'll try and maybe spread their legs back out. So obviously I can't really demonstrate this as well while I'm sitting down, but they may try and lightly make and spread the legs out to try and balance themselves, and then maybe try elbowing down or something. And that's because all the other kind of things such as, ripping ears off, eye gouging, fish hooking, not that it's really the best idea to fish hook someone in general, but I'm just saying all those things are forbidden in typical sports fighting stuff. And so this is really what you generally see in street fights, is people that either have no training, or it's people that revert to the things that they're good at because they've trained in it. And one thing that they typically aren't good at is eye gouging, because if you don't program it in your brain, instinctively you won't think about doing it. You'll be doing the stuff that you've trained to do, as I just mentioned. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, like I said, the headlock or the elbows or anything like that. But this is a reason why you don't really see a lot of people doing the eye gouging and stuff like that. You need to actually program it and think about it. So, which this guy, Michael James, I'm sure would know if he was actually ever in a street fight or had real training. But I guess it's easier to be a keyboard warrior, huh? Alright, pretty much all I wanted to say about that one. So, next comment, and this is, oh my god. This is a guy I used to live with. I mentioned this in one of my other videos. I don't remember which one. I just remember that I did talk about it, and this was some guy that's a security guard lying about how he had a shotgun and pointed it at some guy that was trying to come through the fence at some site that he was working at, and I'm like, sure it was. It must be too easy to be a security guard trainer in Australia, which I know for a fact. if you've watched my other video about, that's the thing, it was the video about how I was talking about just corruption and stuff like that was in the security industry, which is worse than whatever the left-wing radicals think the police force is. Defund the police. Yeah, okay. That's a whole nother rant, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but I was trying to talk to him about the concept of center access relock, and I'm sure most of you that are watching this video came here because you have seen those videos I did on the car system. And so, yeah, I was going over the way that it's held and stuff like that, and he was like, okay, so tell me, why is it that we shouldn't hold the gun like that? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? This is literally what this dumb fuck said, and he's referring to semi-automatic pistols, by the way. But he stated that it's not advised to hold the gun the way that... Hang on a second. It's not advised to hold the gun the way that I was showing him like this, and his reason being was because, oh, you meant to hold it like this in the weaver stance to prevent the magazine from falling out. And my brain flatlined. I was like, are you... What? Okay, first off, if your gun is in that bad a quality that you have to have a hand underneath it in order to prevent the magazine from falling out, either you need to fix the gun or buy a whole new gun. So, I don't really know what else to really say about that, except that this guy clearly has very, very, very minimal firearms training. And, you know, he also came in with some other weird statement saying that in the Australian police force, guys that are left-handed are allowed to shoot, and then the gangster grip, or the side grip as it's really called in my mind, because, you know, the extraction port's this way and it goes to the ground. Just dumb shit he just fucking makes up on the spot to seem superior. He's a fucking idiot. The next thing is, this is a comment that I had by some guy who, granted, he was 17 at the time he said it, so I'll give him a little bit of lenience just because he's not an adult. However, I think he got this advice from his dad, and obviously his dad would have to be an adult. His dad's a fucking idiot, is my point. If it was him that said this to him, which is what I think he implied through the conversation, which I don't remember exactly. My brain really stopped on this thing that he said, and this comes to do with knife defense. And he was with one of his other female friends, and I was going through this bit of a knife scenario with her, just outside of a shopping center, and he was there hearing what I was saying, and he said, oh no, well, you meant to do this. He said, if someone takes a knife out and holds it at you, to just grab the blade, because doing so will freak the attacker out. No, you fucking moron, that's not how it works. What happens is that if someone's taking a knife out at you, well, they're either threatening you or they have the intention of using it against you to some degree, and so it doesn't really matter if you grab the blade of the knife, if you grab the handle, if you grab their wrist, if you grab them by the throat, the back of the neck, or grab them by the ballsack. All of those things will do one thing, and that's elicit a response from the knifeman. Or a knife woman, let's not discriminate. Remember, I got a scar on my bicep right here from a crazy ex, and she had a knife, so... So like I said, all that will elicit a response from the person, and typically what they're going to do is then retaliate. And grabbing the blade of the knife is probably one of the worst things that you can do if you had to grab anywhere. So either like part of the weapon itself, or the individual, or even their clothing. Simply because, well, hey, if you doubt this, get someone else to hold a real knife, or maybe even a training one then, for those of you who will actually try to do this, even though I'm kind of speaking rhetorically. Just grab a knife and have someone else try to pull it out, and you grab it as hard as you can. My hand is going to have a massive cut on it, and so not only am I going to be in a bit of pain, I'll be injured, and my hand will be bleeding, so it's going to be slippery as well. Yay! Just the thing I really need when I'm trying to defend against a crazy knifeman. The other thing, and speaking of knives, this is another comment that was made by an absolutely fucking retarded wanker. I mean, you've got wankers, and then you got this guy. This guy, I kid you not, he is the poster boy for fucking wankers. You know, the sort that kind of like really douchey... this is his dress style. Combat boots, the really baggy pants, like the kind of muscle sleeveless shirts and stuff like that. He's kind of like got that mohawk sort of thing going on. Just, you know, real cocky, arrogant, dumb cunt. And it's important to note that to really sort of understand the frustration I was trying to manage while this guy was around. And so, much like the other situation, I was going over this knife defense with this other girl, but I was explaining to her how there are things that you can do regardless of where it is in the body if it's a knife threat. Because remember, there's a difference between a knife threat and a knife attack. So a knife threat is where they're holding it to you and demanding something. And I was saying, if the person's standing, so we have to be standing. If they're standing behind me and the knife is to my groin, there are things you can do. And it essentially involved me putting one foot back and then sort of like turning around. So this here's me here, the knife's there, you sort of like, you know, turn around like this here, and if they try to cut, because there's a way that they need to move for in order to cause damage, and so in this instance the knife would have to go up. So if I move around, it might just nip me a little bit and hopefully just, you know, cut my ass cheek, which is fine than getting my scrotum slashed open. And so I was going over the mechanics of that and, you know, the methodology behind it and everything like that, and this other guy, and of course douchebags always have to throw the word bro into every fucking sentence like a syllable, like a comma, and he was like, oh no man, I had someone do that to me before. Yeah, sure you did. Literally, this is what he claimed that he did. When the person was standing behind him with the knife to his groin, he claimed that he jumped up and then headbutted the guy backwards, and then the guy fell over and got knocked out. Surely I can't be the only one that thinks that this guy is 50 pounds of shit in a 10 fucking pound bag. Like, it's... like, he's lying. Like, he's so obviously lying. And... oh my god. The self-restraint I had to just stand there and go, sure it did. I said, so tell me, how was that more effective than the one I just showed? And he claims that the one that I did uses up more energy. It uses up more energy than jumping up in the air and then headbutting backwards? Okay, if you say so. And so, while I'm on the topic of this particular guy, that leads me to the next retarded comment, and this is about this myth that people think that, which started off in, I guess, Hollywood action films in the late 80s or early 90s. And that's with the fact that people think that if you uppercut someone to the nose, that you'll put the cartilage up into their brain and kill them, which is, you know, a massive myth. It doesn't work that way. First off, there is a gap between where the front part of the brain is and to where the nose is, and the amount of force that you need to even fall. First off, it's cartilage, it's not bone, so it's going to mush up before it even reaches that far. But also, even if you mush it to shit, it's not going to reach that far back. And even if it does, there's no necessary truth that it'll actually kill you. Maybe a bit of brain damage, maybe no brain damage at all. But anyway, same guy claims that that's what he did. And he's like, oh, tell it to the guy I put in the hospital after I fucking uppercutted the guy and blah, 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 blah. I don't know, I stopped listening to him long before he started talking, and he kept fucking talking, so all I heard was... love this guy, really. If anything, he gave me source material for this video, so thanks, cunt face. Next thing is armbarring someone on the ground. This is actually a comment as well made by that other guy that I said hold the gun in the weaver stance in order to prevent magazines from falling out of the gun. And this was to do with armbarring people, and so he claimed that armbarring people on the ground is a really great strategy for street defense. I'm like, no it isn't, especially since the fact that these days every dickhead has a friend, which means that if you're armbarring one guy, because you can really only do it to one guy at a time, if you're armbarring him on the ground, you're using two hands to, you know, try and hyperextend that arm. If they have other friends around, they don't give a shit about how awesome or cool you're trying to look. They're going to come around and stomp on your fucking face. They're going to stomp on your throat. They're going to fucking come down and punch you. If they have a knife, they're probably going to stab you as well if they're the really violent type. So, armbarring people on the ground isn't a great idea. But here's where the stupid comment comes in. This guy claims that what he was going to be able to do is use one of his arms to grab onto this other guy's arm and use a free arm in order to block kicks. Okay, clearly you have never used your arm to try and block a full force kick, especially when you're lying on the ground, okay? They've got the high ground, you got the lower center of gravity. Good luck to you. Speaking of poster boy for wankers, there's this other guy as well who's... I'm gonna go. He's on par. He's just a kind of a different kind of wanker. But anyway, maybe they can team up and do a double photo together for poster boys everywhere. I can show it to all the girls and say, "Hey, here's the dumb cunt you should avoid." This is the guy that was saying he's basically just one of those really arrogant, cocky, dumb fucks who thinks that he can take out any girl at all in a fight because, you know, cocky douchebag nails think that there's no woman on the planet that can defeat them. Which, sorry to tell you, but if there's a woman that's training harder than you and you're just one of those keyboard warriors that took a fucking month camping trip or combat course, they're going to kick the shit out of you, and I'm going to sit by and laugh when they do. Assuming you deserve it, which most of the time these guys do. And anyway, he was basically just saying that he could take out this girl who was something like I keep saying take out, almost sounds like he wants to take him into a restaurant. He can maybe take down this girl who did I think it was Wing Chun for something like 20 years, and he's like, oh, I did Muay Thai for 3 years, I could give her a good month for my money because we did backflips and blah, 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 blah. Sorry for the exaggeration of tone there, but that's really how these dumb fucks sound in my mind. This is another comment, and typically this is said by young, naive women. And so most of these women aren't really that bad. They just haven't really had the proper education, but it doesn't change the fact it's still a stupid statement. And that's the fact that it comes with a rape scenario. And some women think that having short hair will make them a lesser target than a woman with long hair, because there's this belief that if you have shorter hair, it's harder for a would-be rapist to grab onto it. Which, okay, yeah, it is. It doesn't make you a lesser target. What makes going to make you a harder target is walking around with confidence, like you're aware of your surroundings. For the fucking life of me, I cannot stress how many times I've been around at nighttime, in high crime areas, by the way, and there'll be women around walking around with high heels. They've got their whole hands full with these, like, 3 fucking heavy bags. Their face will be buried in their mobile phone. They've got headphones in. They may as well just be walking around with a fucking bullseye on their arsehole saying, hey, I'm one a cock goes here. But no, there is no truth to the fact that if you have short hair, that makes you a harder target. Keep in mind, a would-be rapist can still grab you around the throat. They can grab your laundry or clothing. And a lot of the times, too, they can just come behind you with a knife to your throat and then threaten you to not do anything and go where they want. And also, I do understand that most rape towards women occurs with an individual that actually knows that person personally. In fact, women that I know in real life, who I do care about and I'm quite close with, unfortunately were raped at some point in their life. And one thing they'll in common is that all but one, it was someone that they knew. That one time outside of that, it was a complete stranger. But you do need to be alert and, paying attention for, would-be attackers, because it still does happen. There's guys out there that look for weak women targets and whatnot. They'll come over to them with a knife or something like that. They'll tell them to get in their car. If they scream and make a sound, they'll kill them and everything like that. But what they look for is that confidence level, okay? So hair's got nothing to do with it, okay? You could be bald and ugly as fuck. If there's a guy who thinks that he's going to be able to get a, free fuck and be the dominant one because, it's about power to him, which is done through the act of non-consensual intercourse, they're going to take that opportunity, okay? So keep that in mind. Just the simple act of, if you see guys approaching you that look a bit sus, at least stand in a confident manner and just look them dead in the eye. That's going to make them react in a very different way to if you were going, and then trying to avoid them, okay? Just trust me on that. And speaking of rape scenarios, aside from those other women and whatnot that say that thing about the short hair, there's also the really stupid, dumb, retarded fox, usually in the form of feminist extremists, or feminazis as some other people call them. Anyway, I just call them men-hating cunts, but whatever. And that's this comment that I'm sure a lot of you have heard, where we should just teach men not to rape. What? How? Okay. I guess we both, to an extent, want the same thing. We both want there to be less rape in the world. I'm just trying to do that through the means of teaching women to fight back against these horrible fucking monsters. But in order, if we were going to be able to teach men not to rape, first off, teaching is done through education, but it doesn't work on everyone. People are going to learn what they want to learn, and morally corrupted individuals, it's not really something you can really teach them and get through to them. So the only way something like this would work is if you had the ability to control the actions of everyone, but we don't, so until you do, I'm not going to be going into that method of teaching. I'm going to be doing the stuff that is proven to actually work to reduce rape. So, we can compare resumes if you want to, and we can see what the radical feminist extremist has to offer, and we can show what people like me have to offer, and we can go from there. The last thing on this list that I'll mention is this thing. There's this guy I used to be friends with, called Liam, and, this guy we used to be best friends until he just slowly started becoming a dick. Like, he's slowly but surely became one of these poster boys for hipsters, the kind, beard, acting like they discovered all this stuff before someone else. If there's some really shitty movie and whatnot, he'll try and defend it by saying, oh no, but there's a deeper meaning to it that you don't understand because you're not as sophisticated as I. Just one of these guys. And he was talking about how he would be easily the kind of guy to blitz Black Ops training, despite the fact never even being in the army because, he got depression and couldn't join. Wow. But on top of that, it doesn't change the fact he's a fucking idiot. He makes stupid fucking idiotic comments, including the one where he said that he apparently thinks that he would easily blitz SAS and Black Ops training or any special forces training in general because of his mindset. He's like, oh, I'm so detached from reality and no shit, but also I'm very dark-minded and everything like that. So already I know I got the mindset to easily be in Black Ops and all this crap. So really, it's not the way it works. And also, I know, Liam, that you still watch my videos, you little cunt. And so keep in mind, this guy as well is the kind of guy that was always seemed to be in like a competition with me. So even though I wasn't in competition with him, I was trying to do stuff for the betterment of myself. And so regardless of what it was, if it was, musical talent, or if it was a martial arts thing, or just something with knowledge of movies or knowledge of the gaming industry, he's always that kind of guy that was trying to one-up me as if to, seem like he was always better than me for some reason, which, anyway. But hey, we're not friends anymore. But hey, Liam, since you're still watching my videos, if you really want to compare to which one of us was the better person, which one of us was the one that cheated on her fucking girlfriend? Anyway, I don't really have much more to say about any of this stuff. I kind of think the video's gone on for long enough, and there's 10 things is all I wanted to do. Depending on what you guys think of this video, if you want me to do another one, trust me, there is never a shortage of dumb fucking comments in this world of self-defense and combat. So if you do want to hear more stupid comments or things I've heard said to me over the years and want me to do another video, I can. Further than that, please, I really mean this, in the comment section, whatever stupid comments you've heard over the years that people have made about this kind of stuff, let me know. I'm legitimately interested, and if there's enough of those, what I can do is make a separate video again where I'm actually responding to those particular comments that you've heard other people make. Yeah, I guess that's about it. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about stupid questions. I mean actually statements. Questions, that's one thing, and even though there is such a thing as a stupid question, I'm not so bothered by it, just because the fact that it's a question, it also implies the fact that the person asking it is modest enough and actually allowing some other information to come in. But when someone just makes a stupid statement and they, for whatever reason, have a stern belief of that statement, and you can't correct them on it, even though you know for 100% fact that they're wrong, yeah, that's where you just kind of like gotta walk away and make videos like this about it to let other people know all the fun shit you might get involved in when the day you want to become an instructor. So, that's about all. Anyway, I'll end this video now. Like I said, please comment all the dumb stuff that you've heard said, and take care of yourself. Stay safe.